starting to check out some of this stuff about Claudine Gay and what people are saying and like kind of reactions to reactions and the students. So I looked into it and this is what it looks like to me, yada yada yada. And so I started really thinking, like, because from the very beginning I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'm pretty sure I uploaded it that I fundamentally thought that Claudine Gay finally crossed somebody who was on her side at some point and knew, like, okay, she didn't cite like all this stuff and da da da. Like they always knew that what she had done, but they were cool about it because they were down, was down with the cause. How Colin Flaherty always, would bring that up, that as long as they're down with the cause, you could look past all kinds of other things. Crime being, or massive violation of ethics, that everybody else is held accountable to and such like. So now with all these exposures of this, and that there's more and more stuff coming out. Now there's actually, Professor Swain is bringing up, no, she plagiarized me directly. And apparently Swain has even done some YouTube videos going into precisely what was plagiarized. Which this gets pretty interesting. Because then there's also that. Was this something that Swain was holding on to, and once the congressional testimony thing came up, that then Swain was like, gotcha, and that she saw her moment. And the beautiful part about it is, at some point somebody's going to get into this whole thing of it being kind of, culture war-ish and stuff, and said, no, President Claudine Gay is going to survive this, yada, yada, yada. And my whole thing is, no, the whole point is to point out what Harvard has become. There's a movie about, I believe it's Harvard or Yale, that's about a Jewish guy, the first Jew at Yale. And it's like this whole thing, like I remember this clearly in the 90s. So it's, the Yankee Ivy League, there's just so much brain, that's now even the Democrats have bought into this, where we mocked the Bush family. Like, you just are the Bush family, you just get to go to Harvard and Yale. Like, that's right. You're just rich, you kind of own a chunk of the college so that you just send your sons there. But now the Democrats have bought this too. That it's like, no, really, we're these incredibly smart, extra brain people. Where one of the things there was a period of time that the Democrats supposedly were very working class, that they would have people who came from more modest backgrounds in education. But now that's no longer, because it's the fashion. You have to be from one of these high muckety-muck schools, or you're just not even educated. That's how they talk now. This is that's not a Republican thing. The Republicans are now at the stage in their culture of saying, I don't want to send my son to a college because he'll come out a girl. He'll come out dumber, he'll come out dumb and poor. Dumb, poor, angry, and possibly try to cut his dick off, and if this kid goes to a few programs for about 18 months and gets all his certs and tests for his certs, which will cost me a fraction, which will cost me literally like one for a state school. From what I understand, if you were to try to just get started in almost any general field that is useful, HVAC, electrical, this and that, you're looking at really what is a output that's going to be like a semester at your first year at like a state college, and then you're free and clear to enter the field. And, and that there's this desperate need that they need people. So I've just been sitting back, and I could tell you, like, no, really, just people who are just good at machining and handyman stuff are desperately needed. There's stuff in restaurants all over the place that can't get fixed. You can't fix a deep fryer in Oregon, like, within 48 hours. It's like weeks and weeks and weeks to get the parts. So just to kind of just give a concept of this. So you come up with interesting ways of properly frying food. But that's how things are now. And so I'm sitting back, and I'm kind of tallying this up, and I'm looking at it, and I'm just kind of like, this is once again one of these moments where it's sort of like, can we hand you a big chunk of personal victory and vindication? Because now this is the idea of, oh no, motherfuckers make phone calls, and it doesn't matter what you say in public. This person is keeping your job for you, because that's what everyone's saying Obama did for Claudine Gay, which then makes it even more clear after you see this person who was a former secretary of whatever harassing the dude, harassing Falafel Man. I mean, like, harassing Shawarma Bro. Like, and the way he was doing it was cringe as hell. I was like, this isn't even base racism. Like, good. Like, come on, you gotta have better than, you gotta line up certain kinds of jokes, like, no, that's not how you do it, bro. And so then, and then there's another one who gets caught doing some shit like that. And so it starts to give you this idea. No, just like what a lot of people said, no, the left just kind of hates everybody except for their friends, because they think like a gang. That's how their party really behaves historically, and that's the kind of people it attracts in. And that when the Republicans have had this problem with the contagion of the Bush family and the Pentagon and the neocons and stuff, that they really didn't like it. Like, people really resented the Bush family for having a dynasty. This was said, I remember this openly being said on the news. Like, on, like, the Jim Jabbar, that show, McLaughlin Group. Yeah, it was on the McLaughlin Group. That they would discuss this quite openly, that the Republicans don't like dynasty politics and try to eschew it from the party. So they'll try to get their young to go into business instead of politics, like with the idea of, like, do something useful, go into business. And then if you need to, later in life, if you really have to, try your hand at it, but it's dirty and filthy, and it's kind of the idea being that also Republicans look at it as something, because it's sort of a lower form of influence than actually doing something in the world that improves it. It should be treated very much like, oh, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to do something in my community. Like, I'm very fortunate that I'm getting such an opportunity. That's really kind of the humility that should be there. And that's why you end up getting Republicans being so much these people that are like, beware the power of the government, because it's full of filthy, dirty crooks. And so Claudine Gay is really, one of the things about this too is there is a bit of flexing and grinning and clever, Miss So Clever going on with it. And it's beneath the office of something like a president of Harvard. You shouldn't have to behave that way. You should never be in a position that you have to behave that way. That's the key thing that this keeps coming up with black people. Your behavior should never have gotten to a point that the position you're in, like, oh wow, people are shocked by your behavior. Oh, why are you mad? Well, because of this very influential and important position you're in. Like, that's what, and then it's kind of the thing of what don't you understand? That's not proper behavior for that position you're in. And, this is your position is kind of public relations to some degree. It's politics, it's marketing. You can't do that and people be cool with it. So it's and how this is now like something that nobody understands. That they're going to just fly off the handle, say something crazy, or it's even worse that it's this, as a representative of this institution, I'm going to make our moral and ethical stance and possibly legal stance real gossamer and and hard to determine, fence the fart kind of stance, and there's just no reason to have people be like, that's kind of shocking that you're saying that, it's like, because you're so important. Why'd you just say that? If you were nobody, it wouldn't matter. If she were nobody, it wouldn't matter. That's the other part about it. That makes it real obvious. Like, no, it's not about why you mad. No, if she was a nobody, we wouldn't care. But she's the president of one of the most elite institutions in the history of humankind. One of the most influential educational institutions in the history of the species. And it looks like she's possibly a Jew-hating racist who's plagiarized her work to get the position with full knowledge of a lot of people. And then once discovered, a bunch of powerful people then gamed the system. So it's like, yeah, you guys shouldn't really be upset about that. This is amazing. And this is amazing, like, sort of this chapter that this is really kind of, with the Passport Bros, I've actually determined, I'm trying to figure out a name for it. It's definitely the culture change, like hashtag culture change. But Hoodservative and you guys, the Gulag Gang, you guys got to help me with this. Something has happened that black people have so totally and completely shit the bed, got up, were like, oh shit, ran down the hall, shitting, and then got to the toilet, it like spun around, fell down, shit all over the place or something like that. So now it's everywhere. And then they spent a lot of time on the toilet, and I think that's where they're sitting. Shitting themselves perpetually on the toilet, thinking about how they're going to have to clean up the whole goddamn house. And they ran. There we go. Something like that. It was something like that. Like NWA said. Something like that. You gotta know. The OGs are like, God damn it. What a sight. That was so smooth. OG. No, but anyway. So, the Passport Bros are showing that there's all these black men that apparently this concerns black women enough. Whoever these men are, whoever that they're encountering who do this, these are men that they don't want them going to the Philippines to find a good Catholic wife with a very serious dad, a very large family, and very good qualities of personality and intelligence and good looking, to have then, of course, beautiful mixed children. Of course, a big part of this is evolutionary psychology, that, well, these women don't want eventually to have their daughters compete against half Filipino daughter, who might be quarter Chinese as well, Oh, darn. Real long mane hair. And so this is now this thing of, so there's these desirable men who can leave, and they are. And so it's really, and then you see these women plagiarist women who are racists and Jew haters, possibly, that, and the elites are replacing the blacks with the immigrants from anywhere, any other place. Don't even care who they are. They don't even care who they are. They're like, we'll give you anything. Here's $5,000 fucking dollars in gift cards. Oh my God. Oh, it's just cruel. Oh, it's just cruel, but I'm old enough to laugh at it like a crazy old man. All right, I got to handle some business.